Good morning and welcome to Cheche, the show where opinion counts. My name is Fred Indimuli, sitting in for Udwa Kamimo. Now, as the Jubilee Party continues to grapple with an unprecedented wave of independent candidates in its strongholds, one man has come under fire for supposedly being behind the loss of many Jubilee elected leaders at the party primaries. Indeed, we do understand that a number of legislators reported CS Mwangi Kiunjuri to the president as the man behind their political wars. He has since denied the claims, just as he has dismissed further rumors that he's positioning himself to be William Ruto's deputy come 2022. Away from politics, Bwana Kiunjuri continues to court controversy even in his line of work as cabinet secretary. Last month, he unveiled an economic survey report that indicated that Kenya's economy expanded by 5.8% last year. But as Kenyans digest impressive growth data collected by the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics, skeptics have described the data as too optimistic and too good to be realistic. His docket has also been central in tackling the food and hunger crisis that has now degenerated into political debate over the price of ugali. Mwangi Kiunjuri, Cabinet Secretary in charge of devolution and planning, is our guest this morning on Cheche. Karibu sana. We also have our regular panelists, Mutegi Njau and Charles Odhiambo. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
First things first. Let's start off with what is afflicting Kenya currently, and that's the food crisis, the drought that we're still yet to recover from. And we just need to understand, because there's been confusion. The agriculture minister says one thing, the PS says another, the CS is in different dockets. We do not know exactly who's handling this. What is the role that your docket, devolution and planning, plays in as far as the current situation is concerned, the importation of maize, the pricing of this commodity? Where exactly are you?
First of all, may I say that there should be confusion.
Yes.
And the position, whoever articulates the position, articulates that position on behalf of the government. Either it's the minister or the PS. Because it's not a debate that can be domiciled to a particular ministry. It's an issue that was being discussed at the cabinet level. And as far as August last year, there were signs over. By the month of October, we had the first cabinet sitting where we discussed this matter, the issue of drought in the country, food reserve. And we have been progressing this because the president himself chairs the subcommittee on every 2 weeks, fortnight. The chief of staff, Kenya, also chairs a committee every week of the permanent secretaries and the departments concerned. Every 2 weeks, I also chair a subcommittee of the Ministry of Agriculture, Devolution, Finance, Water, Environment, and we sit down together. We receive monthly reports from the National Drought Management Authority on the drought situation in the country. And therefore, I would say that the government is fully aware, is up to date, and has responded accordingly. Yes, to the drought situation in this country.
Yes, but Mutegi Njau, I think perhaps the confusion stems from the fact that there's no one particular docket that you can actually say this one is in charge. He's in charge of planning. When it comes to drought management, surely, years on, it's a cyclic problem. We know, you will know 3-4 years before a drought is there, just through weather forecasts. Don't you think that he should take charge as Minister of Planning in terms of ensuring that Kenya is prepared 3 years before?
As far as I'm concerned, the drought situation, the problem we have here, it's not drought as such. True, there's drought, but we are not living in Timbuktu. We know, and we have civilized country. We have a meteorological department. Yes. As you said, they know. They knew earlier this year when we were the cabinet secretary for agriculture. But he came here and said he's going to import maize in June.
Yes.
Of course, he was wrong, as we have seen. To me, this is politics. I've had many years of experience in election. Every time there is election, there must be a problem of maize and sugar, because somebody must import. Yes. Somebody must import maize cheap from the world and sell it here, and even export. We have seen it being brought here and sold to make money. Somebody must make money. Yes, that is what is happening. Yes. It's not about drought. It's not about weather. It's about politics. It's about money. It's about elections.
So even your role in planning doesn't play.
Yes, he's entitled to his. Everybody is entitled to their own view. That is view. But as I have said, we are in charge. I told you clearly that we anticipated. And if you look at the cycle now, every 4 or 5 years, there is serious drought. It was there in 2011. We prepared ourselves early enough and give therefore credit where it's due. That this time around, if you look at previous years, and then you have had a drought this year, the mitigation you have put into place are commendable. Look at loss of life, isn't it? The mitigation that you have put into place. The question is, do you have a plan to ensure that this kind of a situation in future is contained? Those are the questions we are asking ourselves. 2, when it comes to food reserve, it's open knowledge. If you want to know the situation, you can go to Cereals Board of Kenya. You can go to the food. You can be able to track down the food that we harvested and how it was consumed.
Yes, and that's where the problem is. Yes.
Remember, yes, we are facing a situation whereby even our neighbors are suffering. Already there is famine. In this country, we have drought. Somali, there is famine. Sudan experiencing the same very serious conditions. Uganda are also suffering. Why? This region, you know, we are open when it comes to trading. Whenever we have shortage in this country, we receive maize from Uganda, we receive from Tanzania. They are also suffering. There is no food. Okay? The time we were sitting with the cabinet in November last year, we looked at our food reserve and we looked at projections. And we knew, because we are guided by National Drought Management Authority, we knew all the indicators. We are clear that the rains, November, December rains will not be there. We still, and we are up to the point that even these wrong rains will be short, and that they will be stressed and not well distributed.
If that is the case, then, Waziri,
yes,
if that is the case, with all that planning, why is it that you want to summon Parliament to pass to legalize the importation of duty-free?
It always appears like a crisis.
It was a crisis.
With all that planning, why is it a crisis? No, it's just happened this year. Pop, we need to do something now.
My friend, what by January this year, we started putting measures into place. And obviously, you need to look at where the situation. When it comes to the issue of importation of maize, you have to look at the consequences. It is the last thing that you want to do, because by the end of the day, it will have further consequences to our farmers. For example, if you flood maize now, if you're not careful, in the next 2 months, we flood maize in this country, what will happen to the farmer? Those maize farmers in Bugoma, Kitare, and across the country, because the rains are okay. If you look at the way the rains were distributed, those areas that are food basket, they have received good rains. It's only that now the armyworm factor is coming in, and you expect to harvest up to 70%. Okay, where do you take that maize? Already we are talking of prices of sugar. Again, you allow people to flood sugar in the country. What do you do with that farmer? In the same situation again. Today, politicians are up in arms. 2 months ago, when the hunger drought started really biting, they were up in arms that this government has hiked the price of unga, that now they want to kill the common man. Now again you have reduced the price of unga.
So Waziri,
they are up in arms now, again, claiming that you have done importation of maize because you have money for campaigns. So you have to deal with this situation.
Waziri,
and at any given time,
assuming you people have done well, and we give credit to the devil, as you say in your words, you have fortnightly meetings in a committee that you chair. The president has fortnightly meetings. The head of civil service, secretary of the cabinet has weekly meetings. Did the government plan to import maize this month?
The government was very clear that by the end of May, there might be crisis. And we did hold our horses because we knew for sure if we open the window and then we get good harvest, the farmers again will be up in arms. But it reached a stage whereby now we knew that if this one persists now and there is no reserve coming in, then Kenyans will also equally suffer.
But this planning,
we had planned to import maize by May.
You planned to import maize. So it was not a crisis.
It was not a crisis.
Explain to us, therefore, why Parliament had to be summoned, why you had to remove the taxes, why everything was done in a rush, and a ship traveled from Durban to Nairobi in a record 3 or 4 days, if it was not a crisis.
Yes, my friend.
And we have a quote from the Deputy President in June last year saying that Kenya will not import maize. But all this planning was there. I'm thinking the planning is more than a year. It's more than a year's plan. How come in June last year the President says Kenya is not going to import maize, and that's not something we're going to consider? Then less than a year later, we're importing maize.
That was June last year.
Yes.
And when is today?
It's less than a year later.
My friend, how long does it take for maize plant to grow and be harvested in this country?
So the planning is annual?
It's annual. What I'm asking, a simple question. How long do you take to plant maize and harvest, or any other plant in this country? By June last year, we expected even 2 seasons. We expected the rains to come in October, November. We expected to have harvest, isn't it? And there is no way we could have ever, in all dimensions, we looked at it, and we could see our food reserve can take us that far. I have reminded you that we have been having crisis around the region. Meaning, you cannot rule out that our farmers and our traders are doing business. But by the beginning of this year, we knew there might be crisis. Why Parliament was summoned is a procedure. The law requires it to be done. And therefore, at that point, when the government now knew it has to put measures into place, we called on the Parliament. How did the maize get to this country? It's been explained. The maize came from Mexico, landed in Durban. South Africa.
1 year ago.
South Africa was going through the crisis. Okay? So there were people who had exported. I don't delve deep into that. But what I'm saying is that South Africa was suffering, Sudan was suffering, Ethiopia was suffering. But the issue, it has been explained that yes, the maize came from Mexico, landed in Durban. And you see, when you open, it's now open. You can also import maize now. Everybody is free to open maize to import. And even you are questioning the 2 weeks it has taken or 3 weeks it has taken from Durban to Kenya. What about Zambia? People are bringing in maize through the road. You can transport maize from Zambia. Even now, you can go there, buy, and sell to the market.
I'm sure Kenyans are very grateful, especially the common mwananchi who depends on ugali as a staple food, because at least there is unga for 90 shillings. But the question is what Mutegi said. Isn't this political? Does it mean somebody in your meetings leaks to importers that there is going to be importation of maize, and so, like somebody explained from your government in Mombasa, a ship was moving around in the high seas waiting for time for it to dock?
My friend, I've told you, it's an open market.
So it is a possibility.
It's an open market. If you look, Mr. if you look at the importance, those same companies, the same ship, they brought a fertilizer from 2004. They have been the same companies, same cartels. They are the same ones who brought them.
So they have insider information.
Let me ask a simple question. Who are involved in this business? Sugar, maize, fertilizer, and who are they associated with? Because you know you have to look at these issues, because who are involved? And they are friends of who?
Okay, who are they?
So what I'm trying to say is that if they are friends to the Jubilee establishment, then you would say that we are cutting deals with them. But definitely you look at them, I don't want to mention names, but you look at them because it's public knowledge. If you want to, you can even Google, you can tell who are the grain handlers in Mombasa, whom are they associated with. And that answers you the question. Would you bring government go ahead and allow a trade that is not favorable to them to to allow importers, because when we talk politics, although I'm not a politician, I don't do that.
Oh, you stopped being a politician?
I'm not like a politician. But you ask us yourself very simple questions.
Yes,
You are afraid to whom? Yeah? Those importers are afraid to whom?
You seem to be insinuating something that,
it's true.
They are friends to grouping away from Jubilee.
Yeah, grouping away from Jubilee.
Which grouping is this?
There are so many groupings anyway, but
yes.
what I'm trying to say is that there is no way this government...
But they have access to your cabinet
of
meetings.
Sugar, free importation of maize, knowing very well that it will not favor them. And the truth of the matter,
Charles,
whoever is importing,
I'm getting something here. This grouping away from Jubilee has direct information from very serious very high-level cabinet meetings, so that they are able to actually alert the traders early enough before even the government opens up this tender or this importation of maize, early enough for them to alert their friends.
Information.
Yes.
All these dealers are always, they get free information from government because they are the suppliers, they are the mirrors, they know the reference. It's free information. You can walk in serious board, government reserve. They know, they are also tracking. In fact, they have their own system. You cannot be in this kind of a serious business. Even what you do with the politicians themselves, they invest a lot. They code invest a lot, Jubilee, to know what the other person is doing. Likewise in business, it's competition. These traders, the mirrors, are aware, and they had all the information, and we share the information with them because it is important. By the end of the day, when we wanted to lower the prices, we had to call them on the table, tell them, okay, these are the service days, this is what we are going to do, is it favorable to you? Again, they cannot do business for free. If they are selling the maize, the unga for 90 shillings, they have ensured that they have looked at their margins, their markups. So it is nothing that you can hide this country these days. It's an open society.
So allow me to ask again. So the importation of maize at the beginning of this month was not a crisis. It was all planned in your ministry.
The importation we had planned all along, every step taken, and this year, look at even international community. They have commended Kenya that we have responded to this, the situation, the whole of Horn of Africa, the region. We are rated #1 in terms of response. If you look at the involvement, we have involved all the stakeholders. We have been open, Red Cross, World Food Program, all the organizations. We have been open to them. I shared that meeting and then handed over to the Siampe, who share that committee. And we have been discussing this with everybody. Call any international organization here.
The Siampe is who? To some Kenyans who not.
The PS, agriculture.
Okay. So the question is, when are we importing sugar?
I can assure you.
I'm sure it's planned.
The prices are coming down soon. Because already, in fact, what I'm telling you is that we are looking at the danger. What will happen after this importation? But soon, there will be sugar in the country. Yeah? Kenyans will enjoy good prices. And lastly, you must be criticized. And this being an election year, we are ready for it. And
being an election year,
I remember me telling them, there is a time I addressed that issue in Kware. And I see that will not be an election agenda. Food prices, now it is scaring them because
are you sure
the critics of this government?
But yes, are you sure it's not going to be an agenda for this election, given that it appears for Jubilee you've been handed this, or rather it was stage managed to become an issue at this election, because even Jubilee could actually use the reduced food prices to actually woo voters?
In fact, what you are saying is the facts. First, is there anybody who can contest the fact that it's drought in this country? You cannot. 2, is there anybody who can contest the fact that selling unga at 140 is very expensive for the common man?
The last time I checked, it was 169.
169.
But those prices have stayed for so long.
My friend, again, who controls those prices? Then the government came in, because you cannot lean on them. And for example,
who controls the prices?
There are some areas even now that unga has not yet dropped the prices. You ask the retailers, they'll tell you, no, for me this one I bought when the prices were at 169. And they are arguing. It's a very good argument for them, because you cannot buy at 160 and come and sell at 90 now. Yeah. But the issue is, have we responded in good time? Yes, we responded.
There was an article by one Kipruto Arab Kirwa, who was the Minister for Agriculture, I think earlier this week in the newspapers, and said this whole thing was orchestrated, that maize was mopped up, according to him, that the thing started when poor fertilizer was brought by the same cartel. So we didn't have harvest. The government also, when there was harvest from maize, the government was refusing to buy at the price the farmers wanted. And all these things. And add on to that, the fact that the percentage of exportation of maize from Kenya last year went up.
Yes.
So all these things,
and even the grain reserve has only a million bags instead of 8 million.
Yeah.
At a time when you're fighting crisis, surely that's a matter of planning. The SGR should be a very major component of planning. And
you have to listen to everybody.
Yes.
First of all, you ask yourself, where is his loyalty?
So it's about politics.
It's about politics. Kirwa, the other day, got into marriage when NASA was coming up with Mudavada and the rest. He's there. He's an interested party. Okay? But ask him the facts. I would like to face him here. Ask him where your facts. Because whatever I say here is only experts who can disapprove. He can say about bad fertilizer, he can say about levels. We have sustained, and the Minister of Agriculture is on record, even one month, informing Kenyans about the level, the food, the reserve. And for him, when he comes up here, and you see now the issue is now about the election. Then everybody look at it. Why is the government becoming too good?
Planning.
Yeah, planning. Yes, I'm the minister in charge of planning, and I'm telling you, I share that committee. And we planned, and even now I can tell you, and this is good information for Kenyans to hear. The rains, the April-May rains, most of the parts of the country, they have come to an end. In the Mount Kenya region, Western Kenya, the food basket area, the rains are okay, they are good. But if you look at the ASO counties, the rains, we only received 50 to 60% of the rains. What do you expect? Already we have vegetation cover that will be able to feed our animals up the mid-July to August. Some areas like Isiro, half of Isiro never received any rains. Are you getting me? So you expect there will be crisis in most of those areas if you don't take action. You don't expect any good harvest in those ASO counties. What does that tell you? That again, this problem will persist until next year. We should be ready for that. Nobody ever thought that it can now get to the second year. But the government, as I sit here today, we are now planning on what to do in the next few months. In November last year, we planned up to September. Now we are planning until April next year. So we are on top of things. Okay. Yeah.
What about the SGR, Strategic Game Reserve? How come the number of maize bags is as low as 1 million, which cannot even cover 2 weeks in a month?
If you look at Strategic Food Reserve and you look at importations, as I told you once again, there are so many factors that are into play. You must agree. Can you imagine, in a month of April, March, a bag of maize was still trading at around 3,100. Well, in southern Sudan, it was trading at about 6,000. What do you expect? Yeah? The Ugandans are neighbors there. They must have sold all their maize. That is where you could have gotten at least some maize coming into the country. If you look at what is happening along our borders, yeah, and truth be told, if you come to manning of borders, it was not until the month of April that now the president came out clearly and said no more importation of maize. You remember that? That was, he came on the television, he addressed the nation and told them there is no more. So we had been monitoring, and our neighbors have been good to us. We also have been good to them. But until that point, we realized that our strategic food reserve might be affected. And as we had projected by the month of May, isn't it? It happened. So there is no way we are dealing with the crisis. And we are projecting. Even now, I can tell you which county will suffer first. Vegetation cover. If you look at our rainfall distribution, we are looking at it.
I don't know that he has answered your question. How come that the strategic green reserve is supposed to be
as a
8 million back.
Yes, as a major component.
And it went up to 1 million.
As a major component of planning.
Yeah, as a major component. You see the food reserve. You don't only keep that maize there. That is 8 million. You have to look at, are we expecting a harvest? So, if you keep this maize for a long time, what will happen to the maize? It will go to waste. So you have to balance that at this given time, it should be 8 million. When the harvest is coming up, we have to reduce it to at least 2 million so that you have space
for new stock.
For a new stock. We expected that by the end of this month, after the short rains, the harvest will come in and we shall have replenished. So it's a matter of now planning. And we also had that window, because why were we planning to import? It is because we knew we cannot sustain our reserve. And that is what we are doing now, that we are getting our food reserve to where it's supposed to be.
So has the government bought all the cereals in stock with farmers in the country?
Definitely, we have done that. That is why we are importing. 2, we really had to conduct a thorough search, because we know also traders can hold the maize, the millers can hold the maize. We looked at all those aspects, and they can do that. They can cause crisis. They have caused crisis before.
They may have caused this crisis.
I don't think so, because by the end of the day, if you look at the way the maize you are receiving, they are also literally going for. And the time they knew that you are importing, they must have released. That tells you the DA did not hold the maize, because they knew that you are going to do it. So they definitely must have released what they had.
Okay, time now for a break. When you return, we'll move on from the issues of planning and maize importation to matters of devolution. 4.5 years on, what is the state of devolution in Kenya heading into the elections? Are we prepared for this transition, given that quite a number of governors will be leaving office and new ones will be taking over? Even in terms of assumption of office, are we ready for that? That when Cheche returns.